yesterday on Rookie to Rorty, we had a little bit of a concerning end to the episode with Girolamo, our star striker, on just under 1k a week being ruled out for a couple of weeks. That was a little bit of a cloud hanging over us. Thankfully, we've actually picked up 3 wins from 3 since then, so to be fair, haven't missed them too much today. We come back for our first FA Cup game of the same. Second qualifying round, we take on Alvechurch, all the way down in the Victor Southern League. So really, there's a good chance for us to use our rotation players and see what they can do before we come back and take on Kidderminster Harriers, a rematch from the game that we won late last season, which turned our form around and thankfully just kept us up in this division. It's going to be a top of the table clash this time around though, because we're now at the top of the Vanarama National League North. Hello everyone and welcome back to episode number 7 of Rookie to Rorty here on Shaun Does FM with Buxton FC. I hope you're doing well and come up day. As I mentioned in that brief intro earlier, we've got Alvechurch in the FA Cup second qualifying round and then Kidderminster Harriers in the Vanarama National League North, which is a first versus third clash, and that's happened off the back of yesterday's episodes and mixed results during the course of those 2 games that we did play. Not that good performances, but somehow actually did pick up a win in the second one of those games away when we took on Redcliffe off the back of a previous loss to Spennymoor Town. So if you missed that one and want to catch up, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. As mentioned, did lose Girolamo late on in that second game. He was out for somewhere between 4 to 7 weeks. I think it went down to 4 to 5 weeks once we did send him to the physio. Thankfully, he should be back in time for that clash where we take on Kidderminster Harriers second up in today's episode. And also our form since then has actually been surprisingly good. Thankfully, our other players have stepped up while our star man has been out with that injury. First up, we took on Russia Olympic. Of course, these were the guys that bet Marine late last season to make sure that they weren't involved in that relegation scrap alongside us and them. And we picked up here a very narrow 1-0 win. We'll actually show you guys the goal from this game because it was an absolute screamer from Jack Stobbs, which thankfully did break a deadlock stats-wise. This was definitely a game that we deserved to win. And Stobbs made sure of it here. He got the ball deep inside his own half and goes here on a run down the left-hand side. A little bit surprising there for our right winger, but that was a superb individual goal to make sure there that we did pick up all 3 points. A little bit lucky to get away there with a pretty average effort in front of goal with no Girolamo Vigors, not too good on a 6.3. And also Sam Osborne we're currently using as the backup striker. He was a little bit better on a 6.6, but Stobbs there was the key man to make sure we picked up all 3 points. Then the trickiest game in that most recent run, Braintree Town, a quite decent team here in the National League North, expected to finish 7th in terms of that media prediction. We just did enough here to pick up a 3-2 win against stats-wise, a game that we should have been winning very comfortably. There was something that happened in this game that did result in a later tactical tweak in terms of our position instructions, but thankfully just held on there for a 3-2 win. Bapaga started this game at left wing, seeing as this one was only 2 days off back of that previous game against Rush. Was actually a bit surprised we managed to back up and pick up a win here away from home, and Tom Elliott made sure we picked up all 3 points there with that goal before Banton made things a bit interesting there late on. But the goal that was a little bit interesting and did result in a tactical change was that one there to Luke Pearce on the hour mark. It's not the most impressive goal that you'll see, but who knows what happens there straight away. They pump a ball deep for some reason. Our defenders, they drop off that man there in Pearce, who puts it away. So off the back of that, I did go to our tactics and notice that on the instructions, our position, we had drop-off more turned on. So instead of that being the case off the back of that goal, we now play without anything ticked there on our defensive line. And it kind of worked in the next game that we did play. Not too sure if it's entirely to do with that, but a 5-1 win over Chorley back at home. This was a much more impressive display there. We freshed these guys a double to Vigors and a hat-trick to Ethan Fitzhugh. So 3 wins from 3 since your last here, and it does mean that because Chester have been slipping up off the course of yesterday's episode, we're now on top by 1 point over Oxford City, and that's quite good for us. That's a team we've already taken on in only our second game this season, and we've beaten. So far, looking pretty good here early stages of this Vanarama National League North season. We're on top by the 1 point, a few points further back. Kidderminster Harriers, who we take on second up in today's episode, definitely going to try and save up some big guns for that game. Phil Brown, their manager, likes a 4-2-3-1. So again, going to be quite similar formations that go against each other. They're predicted to finish second, so they should be about where they are on the table. So that's a big game we've got coming up second up in today's episode. But that comes off the back of the FA Cup second qualifying round. To be fair, if I knew the quality of team would take on at this stage of the competition, maybe I would have skipped over this game, but we'll come back for it, especially because with that game coming up against Kidderminster Harriers, it will allow us here a chance to give some of our rotation players a bit of game time. But Alvechurch, down in the Bet-Victor-7 League, you'd imagine we should be beating them considering that they've got no manager. So yeah, we should be safe here, even with a bit of a rotation looking ahead to that big Kidderminster Harriers game. So it does mean a lot of fringe players will get game time in this one. You can see there already, we've got Hanbury and Goal Yates there at right back. To be fair, the rest of the defence is untouched. You'll notice there a new name at centre back. We finally, our fourth one across the line now above Malachi Reeve as one of our starters. Let's just not tell him that he's actually like the 20th choice that we had for that signing before all the other ones did turn us down. But thankfully, Tom Broadbent saw the sense in joining a team on top of the table, and he is now here as one of our starting centre backs. So it does mean, despite the fact we've kind of got that young Bucks theme here for this season at Buxton, our two centre backs are actually quite old. But to be fair, that's not the worst position for that to be the case. Him and Ashley Eastman, quite a similar age, not too quick, but do look quite good for that central defender role that we do use. So Tom Broadbent, formerly of South Shields, joins us on a free and £325 a week there to round off our squad. So that should do it for transfers here, at least until some players might get pinched on those non-contracts that they do have. You can see there, only got £82 a week spare, so don't imagine we'll be bringing any more players here to this Buxton team. But finally, got our defence sorted out here with that final signing of Tom Broadbent. You can see going forward from defensive midfield, it's entirely rotation players, including Sam Osborne as the striker, while Girolamo is out with an injury. Not too good there as an advanced forward, but can do a job there, which is more than we can say for a lot of our other players. Hopefully, he'll do fine for us here in our first cup game of this save, especially because we're against a team that really we should be beating, even with quite a rotated team. So fingers crossed here, we get through this test away from home as we take on Alvechurch and can make our way through to the third qualifying round, where we might take on a similar stature team perhaps. We might actually be skipping a few rounds of this qualifying in the FA Cup off the back of this game that we are about to play. Didn't actually realise that we'd take on such rubbish teams in this stage of the competition. Did think that maybe we'd take on some teams around that same division as we are. Maybe that happens a little bit closer to the first round itself. It should be a game that we can get through even with all this rotation. Charlie Pavey is the instinctual attacking midfield, but of course we did sign Caden Kelly to come in as a new first choice in that position, so that's the reason that he is there in our backup squad. But hopefully here can pick up a win and make our way safely through to the third qualifying round, expecting us here to be quite impressive. You would have seen our assistant manager recommend that we go with an attacking mentality. I think for now we will just stick with positive and see what happens early on in this game. As already they pick up an injury through there. Kelly's not ideal there for the home team in Alvechurch, but expecting us here to be much better than this team that we are taking on top of the Vanarama National League North, albeit we're nearly 20 minutes into this one and nothing's happened so far. So maybe just working our way into this game against a team that we're not too familiar with, we now get a second shot off and finally get a highlight in this game up at the 25-minute mark. Leak there will take the front. As I said, that defence is quite strong for this game. Lindley will play that one forward there to Osborne, who goes looking for the top right corner. It comes there off the underside of the crossbar, just doesn't quite make its way over the line. As I've just had a shower, my glasses are falling down my face. There might be a few cuts here coming up during the course of this game that we do play. You probably saw one there as I adjust the glasses. Blum and moisturiser on the face a bit too soon after a shower in the summer here in New Zealand. But unfortunately, went close there through Osborne. Didn't quite, though, put it away, but very good interception from Papaga. We did start him in this game. Very good, as you saw in that previous one we played against the team. I think it was Braintree Town back in the Vanarama National League. He picked up a double in that game. Now Elliott with a shot from the pass there from League. It takes a big deflection off of Fleet, but makes its way there into the bottom left corner to be fair. It's a little bit of a fortunate goal to score there, just shy of the half-hour mark, but we'll take it. And hopefully now the floodgates might open up and our rotation players can put these guys from Alvechurch here to bed and make sure our first teamers get a nice long rest before we get stuck in to that Kidderminster Harriers game, a big one there back in the Vanarama National League. Hopefully, it does mean that likes of both our centre-backs and even League can get a rest in the second half. Now a free kick which Osborne will take, but unfortunately puts that one just over the top right corner. So going close here to grabbing a cushion goal, but unfortunately it's still only 1-0. Definitely the more dominant team stats-wise in this game. We make our way into 4 minutes of added time. Sam Osborne does pick up an orange injury, but before we actually get into the sheds here, 50 minutes into this first half, which was supposed to be 49, there is a corner to Alvechurch. Referee, blow your whistle, you absolute thief. They've given one there to the home team. It must be David Coote doing some dodgy stuff, thinking that we're Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool or something. It's a goal to Alvechurch, and they make it 1-1 to be fair. A good first-time cross there from Penny, and Perry will put that one away. Did think there briefly it might be twins there with the same last name, but no, it's Penny to Perry, and they make it 1-1 on the stroke, really, of the start of the second half. Not too sure why we're still playing there at the 51st minute. It's probably due to the injury to Sam Osborne, so because of that, Viggers can come on here at half-time, but a bit disappointed that it's 1-1 going to the sheds off the back of what have been a pretty dominant first half from us there, but unfortunately concede that goal late on, and it's 1-1 here going to the second half. Hopefully it won't stay that way for too long. We can put our foot down here early in the second half and make sure we'll see our way through to the third qualifying round here of this FA Cup, and indeed that might be the case. Ashley Eastham with his first goal, and a real one for us here from set piece at the near post, finally doing something here from a corner. Tom Elliott today playing in central midfield. Somehow there Eastham gets his head on the ball and it makes its way straight for a defender at the near post. To be fair there, Alvechurch might feel a bit dirty about the fact the defender didn't do anything there to stop that goal, but now they're on the attack again here from a set piece, and Fleet plays that one in there for Kemi Augustine, who puts that one away nicely with a finish into the bottom corner. And despite the fact we're certainly on the front foot in this game in terms of stats, definitely being more dominant, Alvechurch actually quite good when they get their chances here. Hembury not having the best debut here for us in this team. The former Manchester United man, maybe he's learnt some stuff off of Onana, because not doing too well at there now on a 6.4. Also Yates at right back continues to do a bit poorly as the backup to Joseph Cunningham. So I'm guessing those two positions might be areas where our first teamers are actually quite a bit of an upgrade. But hopefully now we're going to get a chance to make it 3-2 and put these guys away in the final 40 or so minutes of this game. Keeping the ball nicely here inside of the final third. Elliott will whip that one in there for Charlie Pavey, but unfortunately that header does just go over the bar. But only a few minutes later now we have a goal kick there. It was to Truman. Thankfully, just keep that ball there off the back of a bit of a short take. I say Truman, of course, it's Hembury. I just mentioned that before, still struggling to learn the names here of our players, especially in this rotation team at Buxton. But good short passing here inside of the final third. League will cut inside, takes on the shot. A good save there, though, from the Alvechurch goalkeeper, albeit we do keep the ball here still inside of the final third. But Lindley will play that one back there to Eastham. That brings that highlight to a close. Yates is still sitting out there on a 6.4, so I think with the second of 3 subs we can make a lot more sub options we do have on the bench here for FA Cup games with 7 players, but can still only make 3 subs. But we're going to bring on here Cunningham with the second sub in this game. Hopefully that might spur us on here. He can grab an assist and make sure that we do pick up a win, because concerningly still locked up here at the hour mark. I think if this is a draw, we go to a replay, and we definitely don't want that, but hopefully can change that here with Pavey getting that ball back for us. Now Curtin plays into Cunningham, fresh off the bench. We'll square that one nicely there for Viggers. It's a brilliant save, though, from the Alvechurch goalkeeper. A couple of good ones from now in the second half does mean still locked up at 2-2. Let's hope that soon we can break this deadlock, because definitely don't want to replay. Might even have to come back to that second up in today's episode instead of that Kidderminster Harriers game. If we don't manage to win this one, I was expecting us to kind of romp over these guys being down in a non-playable league. As it turns out, not the case. A little bit here of a disappointing performance so far, and that's not a good pass there, looking for someone down our right-hand side, but thankfully Curtin does get that one back for us. He finds there Pavey, who starts to make his way out left, squares that one for Will Papaga, who continues his good run of goal-scoring form, just sweeps that one away there in the bottom right corner, and surely now we can hold on to a lead for the last 20 or so minutes of this game. He scores there at a very nice time, the 69th minute mark, to make it 3-2, but good work there from Pavey off the back of that interception from Curtin. We nearly got in trouble as someone tried to find him from an earlier bit of play, but thankfully he hustles well, gets that ball back for us, and we make it 3-2 there through Wilbur Pargas. Now we are back in front looking there for another goal. That time Ryan Biggers, unfortunately though, he blasts that one well over the bar. Unfortunately, not carrying on so far that goal scoring touch that he did find in our previous game out of almost nowhere. And now about to make our way to the final 15 minutes of this game. We might take off Broadbent on a 6.5 still early here in his Buxton career for Malachi Reeve. Let's just see what that does late on in this game. Of course, going to need him and Eastham to back up in that game where we do take on Kidderminster, as long as we hold on here to this win. Otherwise, it might be a bit more of a serious effort that we put out in the replay back at the Tarmac Silverlands, but hopefully a chance for us here to grab a cushion goal finally in this game, because it's gone on a lot longer than I was hoping it would, as a competitive affair. Eastham here is on the ball, plays out to Cunningham, who now finds himself in a ton of space, puts that one far post Papaga with a bit there of a deflected header. Curtin then gets himself on the end of it with a safe save there for Sutton, who makes another one in this game, and it stays at 3-2, but thankfully we win the ball off the back of his clearance. Now Papaga goes looking for potentially a double in this game. We'll try and square that one. It takes a wicked deflection and comes off the post, and Ryan Biggers is back in goal scoring touch. Thankfully, he's stepped up in a couple of games since Girolamo has been out injured. We'll see if he'll start the one against Kidderminster or if Girolamo can be rushed straight back in to the starting 11, but that is a bit of a fortunate goal to concede. Sutton has been pretty good so far today. That was a bit average from him, not reacting to that ball coming off the woodwork, and also the defenders there for Alvechurch. And finally, we grab a cushion goal here, a 2-goal buffer late on in this game, and now the ball goes out there to Jake Leake, who scores his second goal of the season. Finally, it's taken us a long time in this game, but we putting Alvechurch to bed here inside the last 10 minutes. We make it 5-2, so it's taken a fair while for us here to get on the front foot. Papaga there went looking for that ball at the far post. I think the Fleet did win that one there, despite being on a yellow card, but thankfully Leake in the right place at the right time can put that one away and make it 5-2, albeit the highlights, they won't just stop yet. There's a chance there for Alvechurch to do something on the attack. Thankfully, we do break it up, albeit not for too long, although now Leake there with a good interception, some late impact there down our left-hand side, gets the ball forward to Papaga, goes looking for a double, but unfortunately drags that one well wide. We make our way into 5 minutes of added time, but thankfully off the back of it looking a little bit dicey there for a fair chunk of that game up until around about the hour mark. We didn't really have that one in control, but thankfully 3 late goals are inside of the last 20 minutes off the back of the 69-minute mark one there through Wilbur Parga does mean that we pick up a 5-2 wins in the end. It's a bit of a comfy win scoreline-wise, albeit what we saw in the match engine, that was certainly not the best display, so certainly room to improve there for our rotation team. We'll see who we get in the next round of those FA Cup qualifiers, if we can put them out again, or if we need to start our stronger team against opposition in the same league as us, either on the north or south side. But thankfully, we pick up a win. We leave it late, but it's 5-2 there over Alvechurch. We'll come back shortly with a much stronger team and see if we can pick up a win and stay on top of the Vanarama National League North when we take on Kidderminster. And we've gone forward a few days about to take on Kidderminster Harriers here in this big top of the table clash in the Vanarama National League North, as you'll see shortly. Gone back to a team a lot more similar to our best student, apart from the fact that unfortunately Girolamo is back from injury, but only recommended for 60 minutes, so it does mean we'll bring him back via the bench. We'll see how Biggers does get on in this big game, if he does a decent job, or if we pull him early and get Girolamo back to full fitness sooner, so our big money player here at Buxton can get some more games in them sooner, which could be quite important around those games that we do have, which will be coming up in those FA Cup qualifiers. And fingers crossed as well, the actual proper rounds of the FA Cup, and we'll take on some teams who hopefully can give us some money if we draw them away from home. But a strong team here for this away clash against the Kidderminster team that we did beat back at our home stadium late last year. That turned our form around in the first game where we did use this fluid counter-attacking system. So I'm hopeful we can do okay here. We are playing with a positive mentality. Our assistant manager actually in the pre-match, you would have seen there briefly, did suggest for this one we go balanced. The game before that, he did suggest that we go attacking. Maybe it would have got the job done sooner in that Alvechurch game, but a good early chance there down our left-hand side. Unfortunately, It just goes wide of the post now. Fitzhugh does pick up a yellow card, a bit concerning so early on, especially with these subs here in games in the Vanarama National League North. So we'll get him there to ease off tackles. The early stages does feel like here we're on the front foot. Hopefully we can make it count. Looking there for someone in the centre of the box, probably Viggers. Thankfully, off the back of a back heel there, we do get that ball back. A lovely square there for Viggers, but somehow the goalkeeper comes up with a big save, and then Viggers is offside. Not too sure, though, if that was off the back of the initial effort or the one after that. So it could have been a big chance there for Ryan Viggers to make it 1-0. Unfortunately, can't quite take it there. Goalkeeper comes up with a big save. And now we go down the other end here for a Kidderminster highlight, but Fitzhugh on that yellow card. Good interception. Kelly plays a nice ball forward there to Ryan Viggers, who unfortunately can't stay onside again this time. Puts the ball in the back of the net, but it won't count. So still 0-0, but definitely looking a more threatening team early on here in this game. Let's hope we can make it count here. Now halfway through this first half, but Kidderminster from this highlight are actually on the front foot. Robinson gets on the attack for some reason. No one picks him up there down our left-hand side, and Sammy Robinson will put that one away with pretty much Kidderminster's first attack that we've seen in this game. Getting FM'd a bit here, it feels like, but to be fair, off the back of yesterday's episode, can't complain too much off the back of that when we did pick up at Radcliffe, but unfortunately off the back of a really strong start, we go 1-0 down. You can see the stats there. That feels a little bit dirty, but hopefully can find a way back into this game. With only 10 minutes left here in the first half. We'll see if any players do need to come off at halftime. So all of a sudden, we are picking up a couple of yellow cards, and Kidderminster here do have a set piece. They go near post, and Thomas Hoyle scores his first goal of the season off the back of that delivery from Butterfield, and we're in trouble now. 2-0 off the back of, I felt, a pretty good start to this game. It's pretty much straight at Truman, but unfortunately can't quite react in time to keep that one out of the back of the net. Unfortunately, just like the previous game, his rating not too good like Hembury on a 6.4. Off the back of that, we will go back to balanced like our assistant manager did recommend, because sometimes that can work. But now that nothing happened late on there in that first half, I think we'll go back to positive and try and make some subs here going to the second. Kirby in defensive midfield not doing too well, so Lindley, our Ginger Ninja, can come on for him. And Girolamo, let's bring him back here at halftime, because Viggers not doing too well on a 6.4. Had a couple of good chances, took one of them, but was offside on two others. So unfortunately, not a good end there to that first half, which I felt like actually we weren't that bad. And let's see if we can find a way back into this game during the remainder of this game, or if we suffer only our second defeat of the season. To be fair, depending on the goal differential, not too sure if this will change too much in terms of where we sit on the table. Still very early on, so certainly still in the hunt for a promotion push here this season, but it would be a bit disappointing against the team that we did beat last season. We're going to take off their Stobbs on a 6.3 with our final sub, Charlie Pavey. Good bench versatility these days, can cover all three positions, and behind the striker, he can come on. But unfortunately, off the back of that final sub, it is a free kick there to Kidderminster. Thankfully, we somewhat deal with the danger, and Lindley here gets a chance to get us going on the counter attack and pick out their Pavey in space down our right-hand side. Squares that one nicely for Girolamo, who stayed on side. It was a bit of a sitter, that one, but he misses the target. So unfortunately, our strikers today not on form. We will now go attacking and see what that does with only 15 minutes left. We may as well just see if we get something going, being a bit more positive late on in this game. Thrown inside the final third float. That one far post, no one home, but thankfully get that ball back there. I think that would have been from Leak. Lots of defenders now who do sit on yellow cards. That left-hand side, a little bit of a concern with Fitzhugh as well. But now we switch it out right. Eastham plays it forward to Kelly, and Pavey does get in behind this time. We don't look to square it for Girolamo, and it pays off. Pavey will put that one away despite it being from quite a tight angle, so not too long off the going attacking. We make it 2-1. Fingers crossed we find a way here to actually get something out of this game, because our first half was really good. The second half hasn't been up to too much, but thankfully we go attacking and do get a goal back, and there's a highlight straight from the restart. Let's hope here that Kidderminster don't make the most here of us pushing for that equaliser and make it 3-1, and that would definitely kill off the game. But we boot that one clear off the back there of that attack from Kidderminster, and now with the ball again inside the final third, Kelly there with a long range effort, and that one curves around their goalkeeper into the bottom right corner, And just like that in the space of only a few minutes since we've gone attacking, we make it 2-2. So maybe we should do that when the assistant manager does recommend it. I think he went a bit too conservative for this game. We decided to stick with the positive. Maybe should have gone a bit more gung-ho here with that attacking 2 quick-fire goals there to Pavey and to Kelly. And we're right back in this one at 2-2. And this certainly will be a result good enough for us to stay on top of the table. Girolamo going a bit fairly in his return. We're just going to stick with what's working here as we make our way into 5 minutes of added time. But I'll be quite happy with a point from this game. But 3 would be superb. There's a goal kick there to Truman. Unfortunately, Kidderminster do win the ball there from that clearance, but they then boot it deep over the top, and Truman can come out and claim that one pretty safely. Let's hope we get this ball back and get a chance here to pinch a late winner off the back of a final surge in this game. But unfortunately, Kidderminster do get that ball back. Some nice short passing here. They've taken a shot there through Darren Palmer, and I feel a bit robbed there. They score a late goal in the 5th minute of added time. Can't complain this time about the amount of added time. It's last minute as expected. They make it 3-2. A first time finish. Reece Truman. That's pretty poor from him. I thought Hanbury in the previous game didn't go too good. At least he didn't cost us a result. Truman there. That's gone straight under him. Harbour Bridge style. And we lose 3-2, which is pretty gutting off the back of how good we were early in that game. Really did need a goal for that early dominance. Unfortunately, didn't get it, and Kidderminster did hit us in the second part of that first half. And then, off the back of us going more attacking, it made a big difference with those goals there to Charlie Pavey as well as Caden Kelly. But unfortunately, we concede there late to Palmer, and that's a bit gutting. Our second defeat of the season. We'll even tell there, Truman, you were rubbish today. You've probably cost us there a couple of points. We'll see if that does mean that we drop off top spot in the Vanarama National League North. Thankfully, we are still up there in first, albeit Oxford do have a game in hand, so we might be dropping there off of top spot depending on what happens when they play their game. Maybe that one did get postponed with weather events here down in the Vanarama National League North. But unfortunately, off the back there of a pretty good comeback to make it 2-2, we can see the late winner and a beat them 3-2 by Kidderminster Harriers. So that one hurts a little bit, it's fair to say, off the back of a really good comeback there with about 15 minutes to go off the back of going attacking in that one. But unfortunately, we can see there in the last minute of added time through Darren Palmer. Unfortunately, Reece Truman, not too good. And to be fair, also, Hanbury, in the first game we played, not too good. But as I said before, at least that one didn't cost us points. But for now, we do stay on top of the National League North, albeit Oxford City do have a game in hand. Not too sure why, but it's not popping up soon. So Oxford actually could go above us there into that automatic promotion spot, but still very early days. Thankfully, we are right up there on top of the table, but that gap that we could have had a little bit smaller than what it would have been if we picked up something from that game. And also, actually, before I completely forget, for yet another episode, during the course of the off-season, as a reward for keeping these guys up at the end of the last one, we did start a coaching course here at Buxton. It's been a couple of months, of course, since we did finish the season all the way back in April. We have picked up our National C licence. So these days, we'll get our first licence here in Rookie to Royalty. We'll see what we do when we go for the next one. I'm thinking I'm going to try and keep things at once a year for those courses, but also I'm very aware if we make a move to a club that don't have quite as much money, even though these guys, to be fair, aren't in too good of a shape. They're doing decently enough for this level. We could go to a club, though, where they don't really support us taking coaching courses, which could stunt our development. But you guys let me know down in the comments what you think we should do, if we should just pick up these coaching badges while we can, or if we wait for one every year, like I'm currently leaning towards. But we've picked up there our National C licence. Unfortunately, didn't help us there pick up that win over Kidderminster, conceding that late goal. But that will do it for today's episode. We get through there the second qualifying round of the FA Cup, but unfortunately a late defeat there in the National League North. If you enjoyed that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Now we'll come back for the next episode. We have got coming up in only a couple of games time that third qualifying round of the FA Cup. It's pretty similar, though, to what we just had in terms of opposition. We take on Whitby Town from the Bet Victor Northern Premier. So to be fair, I don't think that's going to be much different to the game that we did play before. Again, it's away from home, but surely we get through that. So I dare say what we might do is come back around the time of the fourth qualifying round, see if we can make our way through to the first round proper, because that's supposed to take place on the 12th of October. So that Banbury United game, fingers crossed, that will get delayed. And before then, we'll take on Chester in the National League North, the team who were at the top of the table at the end of yesterday's episode, but their recent form has seen them fall all the way down to ninth. So we'll see what's going on with those guys, if we can pick up a win over them, and if we can keep ourselves up there near the top of the National League North. So we'll come back tomorrow, take on Chester, and also hopefully make our way through to the first round proper of the FA Cup. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.